Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, here with my Flosstube update number 393. Excuse me. Today is Saturday, July 5th. A couple of days. It'll be July 7th. It'll be Ringo Starr's birthday. He's about a zillion years old. He was born in 1940, so he's what? He's 20 years older than me, right? Because I was born in 1960. He was born in, I think, was it 1940? Gosh, I used to know all this Beatles stuff. I think, yeah, I think he was born in 1940. Yeah, because John Lennon and Ringo Starr were the same age, and Paul McCartney was born in 42 and George Harrison 43, something like that. I don't know. I used to know, like I said, I used to know what, but you know. So if I'm going to be 65, that means Ringo will be 85. Wow. Wow. Anyway, but yeah, today is July 5th. Yesterday was the 4th of July. Lots of people did fun stuff. We didn't really do anything. We just sort of, relaxed and, took it easy, which is great. In years past, when I used to play in the symphony, the 4th of July was a working day because we did a 4th of July concert downtown, and we had a rehearsal in the afternoon and then the concert that night. So the 4th of July was, it was, it was just a working day. Anyway, but now, yeah, so now we just took it easy and we didn't do anything, didn't go anywhere. Like in years past, I guess we've had family get-togethers, barbecue, dinner, whatever, but we just chilled out and took it easy. Anyway, so I have a wrap-up of the tail end of my June stitching. Last week was like the 28th, I think. Look at my calendar real quick. I think last Saturday was the 28th of June. Yeah, so I had 2 more days of July, and I was down to the wire with my June cross-stitch camp piece. I had finished my WIPGO pieces, except I had done just the tiniest little start on my one of my my 2 new starts, right? I had 2 whips and 2 new starts for June, and I had finished Black Cat Season was one of the whips. It was one of those whip new start things. I did Black Cat Season and Calling of the Sea Compass I showed last week. So those were my 2 whips. And then I had 2 new starts, which are the animal crackers. One of them was Blizzard, the little fox, and the other was Millie, the elephant. And so I showed those, and with the fox, I had done basically 3 strands, basically of thread, right? Because I'm doing 2 threads, 2 over 2. So I had done all 3 lengths of, the one length of thread on Blizzard, and I had only done 1 of the 3 for Millie, which is this one here, the elephant, animal cracker. And so I took some time, I had some time left over at the end of the month, and just, put in a few more lines on this is Millie's little blanket, or whatever you call it. This part here. So I put, like I said, I put in a few more lines. I finished the other 2, sets of 2 threads to finish that one length. So that was for my June new start. And then, I had, like I said, I had done the WIPGO things. And then for June's cross-stitch camp piece, the challenge was, again, to stitch something that showed whether you were a day or night stitcher. And I had done the Silver Creek Samplers Celestial Sister Biscornu, which has a day side and a night side on the Biscornu. And I was almost finished. I had finished the daytime one, the sun. I had finished that earlier in the month. And I was down to the wire. I finished this on the 30th. But this is the moon side. So I finished that. Very happy to get that done. And it actually went pretty quickly compared to this. This is a lot harder just because I think with these little suns, there was just a lot more detail stitching, you know, because you had that, like this darker color around the outside, and then these little rays, you know, along the inside. It was just a little bit more, I don't know, it seemed to take longer. I think the sun part actually took longer too, just because of those the little flares on around the outside of the sun, and on the moon it was a little simpler. The little half moon things were simpler. They were just two colors, this grayer color and the darker gray, and then the face of each one of these little things. And of course they were just like little crescent moons, so they went pretty quickly. The part that was hard was doing all the little stars, you know. And I went ahead and carried them back here because I think once it's made into a Biscornu, you won't really be able to see that. But yeah, and then the little swirls went pretty quickly too. So it was pretty easy. And also the moon, you know, doesn't have the big flares around it, so yeah, it was pretty easy to do. But so I finished it. You know, you didn't have to do like a fully finish of the whatever you chose to stitch on. But I did finish the Biscornu, and I wanted to go ahead and buy some buttons get some buttons for the Biscornu, the middle of the Biscornu. And I probably had some buttons that I could have used that were in all my finishing stuff that went to storage last year, golly. But so I wanted to go ahead and get these things before I forgot about them. And so I wanted to look for buttons. And so for the moon side, I knew I wanted a star for the button that goes in the middle, because it goes in place of, you know, putting a nose on this moon. So it would go in the middle. And the same thing with the sun. I wanted like a yellow button for the sun. And you see them here. They used, I don't know if that's a blue or if that's a white button. It might be blue. And there's one here for the sun one. But like I said, I wanted a star. So I got these. I went to Hobby Lobby because I looked in passing, like I was at Walmart the other day, and so I just looked at what they had, and there was like, for the yellow buttons they had like a little box basically of tons and tons of yellow buttons, and I was like, yeah, I only need one button. I don't need a whole box full of buttons. But they didn't have any like single little cards like this of yellow buttons. So I went to Hobby Lobby, and they had cards with like 3 or 4 buttons in all these different shades, but they didn't have yellow. The only yellow ones they had were bigger, buttons or shank buttons, whatever, not the little holes. But they did have these, which are, they look silver in this, on the tablet, but they're actually gold. So I bought white ones for the moon side and gold ones. Well, maybe they are silver now that I look at them here. Whatever. For the sun side. And as my sister Naomi pointed out, the sun is a star. Really, it's just a big star. But anyway, so I'm going to use, you know, one of each of these on my Biscornu to put these two together. So anyway, that is my June camp piece done. So I just, the challenge is to finish it by the 30th, or by the end of the month, I should say, the 30th or 31st, whatever. And I just got it in under the wire. I finished it on the 30th, and then like I said, I did a little bit on Millie just to finish out the day. But yeah, so I finished that. So that's June is a wrap. It's all done. And then for July, I was up late, preparing what I was going to do for July. I was, going through, making sure I had all the pieces and all the threads and all the whatever. And so my WIPGO piece for July is, the numbers were 2 and 16. So 2 is the Aprile Dolce Dormir by Madame Chantilly. Is a whip, and the Indiana from the Statehood series by Thread Milk is the New Start, and I showed those last week. And then the number 16, my New Start, is Quillber by Blue Flower, and Little Brown Bat, which is my whip, which is a Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods series, number 10. So this is going to be the next thing I start in a few days, I think. But I did, I was, like I said, I pulled it out and I was eager to start on it, and so I waited till like right after midnight. And I started on, and I did just the tiniest little new start. I mean, the tiniest little start on this whole wing is mostly black. There's a, little design thing on here in like a gray or something. Here, this little thing. But so I started right there, and I did like, I don't know, 2 lines, 3 lines of stitches. This is weak starboard coal. So yeah, I'll concentrate on doing that, I think, when I get started on it, and see how much of that I can do. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be easier to do the dark part and then the swirls, or do the swirls and then, do the dark stuff around it. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I did do like that little cabin, and then the rest of it is mostly, the rest of the design is mostly leaves. I did one tree, this one down here, and the leaves on it. And I did the cabin, and I did, I think, one of these leaves down here. I think this one. And the cabin. So I have this other tree, and then these are all the leaves, and they might be pretty easy, but I want to get the wings of the bat done, just because that's the next biggest stitching thing. I've done the brown parts of here, the lighter brown here, and there's like this gray, I don't know what is the bat's, I don't know, cheek or whatever. I've done part of that and part of the yellow on there here. But so, like I said, I'd like to get the black done on the wing. That's the majority of stitching, and so I would like to get as much of that done as possible. If not all of the black stitching, at least most of it. right? So that'll be for the month of July, the whip, one of the whips. The April Dormir is not nearly as much stitching, nor as complicated, I don't think, but we'll see. I'm in the middle of doing the big carrot in that one scene. I don't have it here, but so if I can finish doing that carrot, and there's a baby bunny on top of the carrot, and then there's like some white stitching in the little arbor thing that's over it. There's some, you know, white flowers or whatever. We'll see. Anyway, but that's, like I said, the next project I'm gonna work on is the little brown bat. But then also for my July cross-stitch camp project, I'm doing this Forget-Me-Nots by Tracy Corner of Ink Circles. The challenge for July for cross-stitch camp is to stitch something by your favorite designer, and Ink Circles is one of my favorite designers. I have several favorites, several that I like. Ink Circles, Tiny Modernist, The Blue Flower, Lindy Stitches, all, you know, it's like as my bassoon teacher used to tell me, you know, whatever I'm doing right now, that's my favorite. I always think, you know, like if I'm working on a Beethoven symphony or Beethoven concerto or something like that, that's my current favorite, whatever, you know. And because you get so immersed in whatever it is you're doing, sometimes I guess, you know, you may be stitching on something and you think, you know, I'm really not into this, and you finish it because you know you've already gotten started on it. You put so much work into it. You're going to go ahead and finish it. Maybe you were first drawn to it. Excuse me. You're first drawn to it, but maybe now, you know, your tastes have changed, and yet you're still determined to finish it. Sometimes you like the picture, but you don't like the process of working on it. And Lindy Stitches, what is her name? Stephanie Webb. She talked about it in a previous, a long time ago, video that she did. She referred to those as like cough medicine projects, because, you know, you might not like the taste of the cough medicine, but, you know, it's good for you. If you're sick, if you have a cough, you take the cough medicine, even though you don't like it. And so some projects, you know, become kind of like that. It's like, oh, I'm not really into it, but I'm going to finish it. And so you have to kind of make yourself do it. So sometimes you get into that that phase, but, you know, you try to choose things that you really like. I forgot where I was going with that, why I brought that up, but yeah. So yeah, the favorite designers, but so I guess, you know, there are plenty of designs where I'm attracted to it for one reason or another, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to find, you know, other designs that, you know, this person's done or whatever. But there are some designers where I like pretty much everything they put out. Ink Circles, they have a lot of things that I really like. You know, maybe some things that I could take or leave. Like, I know that some people really like the sort of, one of the things that Tracy Horner does is, like, she'll take a design and it's like, it's duplicated. You'll see it all over, you know, like all of it, it'll be a square and it's repeated all over it, you know. Like I did the rabbit designs. I finished them last year, I guess, or maybe either earlier this year or last year. I think I finished them last year. Yeah, because they're not on my WIPGO thing. I think they were on my WIPGO to finish, them all. So I finished all of them last year. And but like if you turn them, whichever way you turn them, they were the same, right? And the Biscornu is kind of like that. This Silver Creek Samplers, it's kind of the same idea, except for the middle design. These 4 designs, they look the same one way or the, however you turn it, right? So anyway, I guess they're like mandalas or whatever that Ink Circles does. That some people really like them and some people don't like them. For some people, they're like, it's too repetitive to do the same design over and over again. For other people, they really like the whole design. And on those kind of things, I could, it just depends on the individual design. But then also, she does things like this Forget-Me-Nots. So this was my July campus, something by your favorite designer. And so, I've been talking about it all this time. This is where I am. So I'm actually almost finished with it. I finished the elephant, and I finished all of these little brown, they're kind of tan. The color is called coffee and cream. These little flowers, I guess, plants, whatever. And then the moon up here. So all that's left is, you'll see all these odd little diamond-shaped things. They're all this bluish color. It's called Concord grape, but it's it's very blue. So all of those diamond-shaped things are in that blue color. So that's all I have left to do, and I should be able to finish it either today or tomorrow. Just like here and the elephant, and then like here, each of these little diamond shapes and the square things here. Yeah, all in here, all of these, and you can kind of see I carried between them because I wanted to get through it. So but I think with the blue color and those diamonds, it'll kind of cover up some of the carried threads. But anyway, so like I said, I should be able to finish it. I think his eye is that same color also. So I think by today or tomorrow, I should finish this. That'll be my July cross-stitch camp piece finished. And it's one of these Night Garden palette series that several authors did for Nashville. And these are the four colors. So I've put them all in. This was used for the elephant and the greenery and the forget-me-nots, and then all the other little plant things were in this coffee and cream. This color is Merlot. This is coffee and cream. The green is, I think, Parrot Bay. And then this one is Concord grape. So these are the 4 colors that were used in all the Night Garden designs. But so that was my July cross-stitch camp piece. So it'll be finished, like I said, in the next couple of days, and then I'll go on to do all the other July things. I haven't decided if I'm going to do another dyeing session for the Statehood series things, or if I'm going to do them on. This is a natural color. This is 25 count Lugana, and I have to double check and see, because the designs are 50 by 50, so they're fairly small. But I want to see how much, what size fabric I need for each one, because I have 4 of them, and I want them to be on sort of matching fabric. And I think I have more of this 25 count Lugana in this color, but like I said, I haven't decided, and I'm not positive that I have them, that I have enough for all 4 in this color. But like I said, I want them to all match. And I think the Arkansas one has like some blue in it, but I think the other 3 I have, Arizona, New Mexico, and Indiana, are all like, you know, 1 or 2 colors. They're like a red, you know, some form of red color. So, and I think they're all stitched on something similar, a light, you know, color like this. And so, like I said, I think I have more in this natural color. I bought this at Hobby Lobby Thursday. I was there. I was there looking for the buttons for my Biscornu, and so while I was there, of course, I had to look in the cross stitch aisle. I was looking to see if they carried threads in some of the more unusual threads, the DMC variegated threads or whatever. There's some project I have, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I had on my phone, you know, I had written down the numbers of things of, you know, that I might need for various projects. And for one of my projects, and I don't know which one, like I said, off the top of my head, but I had written the numbers down, and I need like DMC threads in the 4,000s. So I think they're all some sort of variegated thread. I don't know specifically what line they're in, but they're like, you know, 4075 and 40 something else, 42, 40 something, 40 something, those 4,000 numbers. So, but they didn't have them at Hobby Lobby, at least at the Hobby Lobby that we usually go to. Since there's no more Joann's, they might have them at Michael's, because Michael's had a different set of, you know, they had all of the, they had a lot of the DMC threads, and they may or may not have those upper numbers. If not, I may have to just, you know, order them online or something. Anyway, I was looking for those, and they didn't have them there at Hobby Lobby. But they did have, this is a Leisure Arts kit. It's a little patchwork cat. It's, you know, it's kind of cross stitch. And like I said, it's a little kit, comes with all the stuff. The threads, some Ada fabric, and a hoop, and all that. So you could do this kit. And I just liked it, and it was on sale, you know, so I got it. Yeah. So that was, you know, gonna be fun. That's my little haul that I got. That and that, like I said, this piece of fabric. But yeah, so I think that's about all I have coming up. And like I said, I'm hoping to finish the Forget-Me-Nots stitch, and then I can go on to work on the Little Brown Bat and get some significant progress, because I didn't really even count that little start I had the other day. You know, my goal is 7 days, you know, for the whips, and I'm not counting that little bitty, you know, 3 rows of stitches that I started on the first. I just, you know, did it because I could. So hopefully in the 7 days that I have slated to work on that, I'll be able to, you know, like I said, maybe finish the wings of the bat and go on to all the other little, because I think all that's left, you know, apart from all the little fiddly color changes in the bat's body and those little designs in the wings. Other than that, it's, you know, I think the leaves and the one tree will go pretty quickly. I don't think I will necessarily finish the whole bat, the whole design in you know, in the 7 days that I have as a goal. because I still have to do, everything else. but yeah, so, I'm hopefully optimistic, especially because my cross-stitch camp piece is almost done. So anyway, I think that's all I have for this week. Yeah, I think so. So I will see you next time, and we'll see. Like I said, I think I will be finished with my cross-stitch camp piece, and I'll see where I am with all my other July stitching. Okay, so I hope you had a happy 4th, a happy and safe 4th, and I will see you. Oh, I know one other thing I wanted to mention, sorry, was the Midsummer Stitch, which is coming up on the 19th and 20th. There are going to be several Flosstubers are going to be featured. They're going to have, I guess, live, they're going to be there live. It's a virtual event, of course, for those of you who don't know. Midsummer Stitch is put on by Lindy Stitches, by Stephanie Webb of Lindy Stitches. They're doing it's a virtual event, so it's all online. And the tickets are $15 for the weekend. And there are no classes this time, but there are sort of meet and greet live, like they're like, it's kind of like doing a Flosstube live kind of thing. They'll be live there, and you can interact with them, make ask questions, whatever. So there'll be, I think she said, is it 4 or 5 Flosstubers that they selected that'll be featured over that weekend. And one of them is is Pam and Steph. I think they said that they're going to be there on Sunday, but I'm not positive. Excuse me. Anyway, if you're interested in going, the tickets are still on sale. They're $15, and then there's going to be some shopping, and some exclusive designs. And other than that, it's, like I said, you can be in your pajamas, you can be as visible or invisible, lurking as you want. You can, because you don't have to have your camera on, you don't have to have your mic on, you can just be there and observe, or you can interact with other people to your heart's content. So all those things it's going to be fun. So my sister Eve and I are both signed up for that, and yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to restrain myself, but we'll see. I don't know what the exclusive designs are, but I kind of feel that itch coming on that I've been trying not to indulge myself, just because it's not that I'm throwing money away, but I don't need more patterns, but I want more patterns sometimes. But so I'm trying to be frugal and trying to be mellow, because even if it's an exclusive design, it's going to be released in a year or so. If I really want it, if I have to wait, I can wait. But the thing is, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait if I don't have to. But I'll take a look at my finances and take a look at these exclusive designs, and try to make a wise decision. But we'll see. Anyway, it promises to be a fun weekend. Like I said, again, it'll be the 19th and 20th. So and if it's a little bit tricky to get to the ticket thing if you're not like I was able to get it pretty easily, because I'm on her, signed up for her Lindy Stitches newsletter, and there's a link in there a thing you can tap on that'll take you to Accel Events, ACCEL, Accel Events, which is where you buy the tickets and all that. And because I've done like Jingle Ball a few times, and they did the Spring Mingle. The one thing I didn't do was they had one weekend for after Nashville, but I didn't participate in that because I was doing other things that weekend, and I wasn't going to be able to. It wasn't worth my while financially, to be able to do that. But I did do Spring Mingle, and I'll be doing Midsummer Stitch, and I don't know if there's a fall one, but I know the Jingle Ball will come around in December. But anyway, so yeah, so it's fun, and if going to an actual physical retreat, is financially or physically unfeasible for you, then these virtual events are, just great, because like I said, you can participate in something, and they're very much like a regular retreat, in the sense of their, interactions you have with other people and all that, and the designers and things like that, but not having to, shell out money for a hotel room, for airfare, for whatever, meals and things like that. It's the next best thing. It's great. Anyway, so hopefully I'll see some of you at the Midsummer Stitch on the 19th and 20th. And until then, I'll see you all. I'll see you next week before the Spring Mingle, I think. Let me check my calendar real quick here. Yeah, next weekend is the 12th, I'll be here, and then the weekend after that is the 19th and 20th. So, yeah, so we'll see where we are in 2 weeks. Next week I'll have an update, and then it'll be time for Midsummer Stitch. What did I call it? Spring Mingle? Midsummer Stitch is what it's called. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.